So we're almost done, folks. And so are the Giants. They won 5-0, a 4-0. And you came to the right event. I mean, they took care of themselves and we took care of ourselves, right? Okay. The future needs. Actually, Jerome already mentioned this. When we were in Washington at our annual meeting last June, we met with the Undersecretary General for Strategic Planning, who works like this with Ban Ki-moon. And he mentioned that every year is important. We always say every year is important, but he said next year is really, really important. And Jerome mentioned some of these already. Okay? There has to be an agreement to build upon the unique historical global compact that has never taken place in the history of mankind, humankind, until the year 2000. And it was the Millennium Development Goals. There should be a compelling reason to renew those. It's a critical year next year for that reason. Secondly, as Jerome mentioned and others, climate change is so important. The existing agreement, the Kyoto Protocols, expire next year. Is there going to be an agreement? Will our country be supportive of these two? Number 3, Ebola, global crisis, unforeseen. We can't do a lot about that, but we can do something, and I'll come back to that in a moment, but it's going to be a critical year to work together through governments, the UN and NGOs. And fourthly, which was clearly mentioned, there are continuing crises. There are the record number of refugees right now in the world, displaced persons, and high security risk countries more than there has been in decades. Okay, so we have a lot to do. What can we do? Okay, some of you saw this in prior years, but it's so good. These are the things you could do. You can do something, and everybody who's spoken tonight has talked about how we and you and I can do something. Okay, I won't read them, but you know. Now, I mentioned passing malaria. This is the final point. Mary Lee, I know it's late. And we're actually ahead of the last couple of years' schedule for those of you who've been through these before, because there's so much exciting to convey. We, in our chapter, decided to join a campaign. We've raised money in the past for UNICEF. We still do through the cards that you can buy out in the lobby tonight, and the World Food Program and others. But malaria was taken on as a big campaign by the United Nations Foundation and our UNA chapter. We were given an award, in fact, this year, as I mentioned, for our work on this. We're 95% toward a target of getting 2,014 bed nets financed to go to African kids. And we're at 95% of the way there for $20,140. Just happened. This is one of our heroes. There's a table out there. Some of you passed 6 students who are all leaders in raising a good share of this money from Alabama. I have a special guest here. Is Chris here? Chris is here. Chris, why don't you come on up? We have a special surprise that the executive director of the Nothing But Nets program of the UN Foundation happens to be here. That's him on the right. That's Steph Curry, the Warriors all-star, pointing to him. They were together in Africa because Steph is a supporter. And we're very excited because Chris has led this program that's raised, as you see in the flyer that you all have at your places, 7-8 million bed nets. Come on over, Chris, and tell him. He's got a couple minutes.
Out of here really quickly. Thank you, Herb. To the award winners, congratulations, and I'm in awe of the great work you do. And you know, we're all in such good company. I'm actually an East Bay resident as well as the director of Nothing But Nets. And you know, Nothing But Nets, we're working to help, you know, the people in the world who need it most, including and especially refugees. But you know, malaria, as everybody knows, is a disease that kills a child every 60 seconds, despite being treatable and preventable with the use of these long-lasting nets. And so, in partnership with the UNA and others, since 2006, Nothing But Nets has sent nearly 8 million nets to help families in need, specifically in sub-Saharan Africa. We're a bit player in the global fight against malaria, but we've helped contribute to the reduction by almost 50% of deaths in the last 10 years of children under the age of 5 from this deadly disease. So it's incredible. It's a good investment. And so Nothing But Nets has had its success only because people and organizations and companies and athletes and you name it all over this country have come together to give $10 to send a net and help save a life. And I think nowhere is that energy more apparent than actually here in the East Bay. Stephan Curry, obviously the star of the Warriors, for 3 years now has donated 3 nets for every 3-pointer he hits. He's behind this initiative in a very big way. We have kids who are hosting basketball tournaments and Girl Scout troops who are raising money doing their cookie sales. It's really incredible, and we have Herb and Joanne and the entire UNA East Bay chapter who are raising money for Nothing But Nets at concerts, at fairs, at 5K races, and at Golden State Warrior games. And what it amounts to is being this close to getting to the goal of 2014 nets sent, which will help keep about 5,000 people safe by the end of 2014. And so I think we're less than 100 nets from being at the goal, less than $1,000. And so I encourage everyone to do what you can, whether it's give $10, donate your birthday, send nets as a holiday gift, whatever you can do. This is a really good investment, and it's an easy, simple, affordable way to make a big difference. So less of a pitch and more of a thank you, because you are 95% of the way there, and this is the way this campaign works. So UNA East Bay, thank you very much, and hopefully we can be on our way soon.
Only 48 hours ago that Chris was going to be around here, and I said, well, we're pretty close, so why don't you stop in? Chris, thank you very much. You all can see the Bed Nets flyer, and there are kids collecting funds out there. You can see the Bed Net if you walk by it. I want to also point out something else you can do. We've talked about peacekeeping. This is on your table. These go to the peacekeepers, none of whom are Americans. We only provide money, logistics, intelligence, and spying, and very vital logistical support. But this goes to the peacekeepers who are contributed by other countries. Every dollar we put in, there are at least $4 or $5 from other countries. This goes to thank peacekeepers. We're also thanking non-violent, unarmed peacekeepers tonight too. You can also support the 3 organizations that were here. You can support iHouse, as we heard from Hans. You can buy UNICEF cards if you want. But come away from this event feeling you are empowered, we can make a difference. And as David said at the beginning when we introduced the Global Citizen Award winners, we were finding how are we going to be able to capture exemplary organizations and individuals another year that show that we can make a difference from here in the East Bay. And I hope you feel that we achieved it. So let me say once again, thank you to the iHouse team and the staff, to Hans, to Lillian and Larnie and the program staff, to the food services, to all the people in the facilities. Let me also mention I would like all of the board members and advisors of UNA please to stand up. You're scattered around. Could you please stand up quickly? There are lots of volunteers who work in this program. I also wanted to give a special shout out to Jensen Dumden-Surd, who's over there, who's done the PowerPoint. We had about 160 slides that were given to us displacing the program. It's been a great evening for us, and I hope for you too. and you will go away inspired, that you will think about the United Nations differently and about what civil society can do differently and what we individually can do differently. So would you please rise in a tradition, it's a tradition this year, it was an initiative last year, would you please rise and let us hold hands with the people next to you, and let us first of all say, here's to peace and human security, number one. Here's to peace and human security, 1, 2, 3. Here's to peace and human security. And how about a happy birthday?